So this video is basically about how my air conditioner broke and how I mitigated the issues and fixed it. Initially it started out with the fan on the passenger side not working, so I went up on the top and tried to use the fan on the other side, which is the driver's side, and connected it to the fan power supply on the passenger side, which then basically made that fan go bad as well, or so I thought. Long story short, one of the fans was bad initially, which was the one on the passenger side, and the main issue was the fuses on the motherboard that went bad as a result of the fan having an issue internally. So I also had called Dometic. They were no help at all. They didn't help me at all on the phone. They weren't willing to help me at all in any way if I was not a trained dealership with a dealer code of some type. They basically have no end user support at all, and as a result of that, it's definitely going to hinder my buying ideas and change the way I look at the company. I've got a lot of their equipment, but this particular experience was a very expensive repair. I ended up having to buy an entire new air conditioner to get the fans because they don't even have them in stock right now. We're first going to take off this screen, and we're going to use a small T9 Torx. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws there, and after that we'll take off the whole panel here. So first we'll get those off. After you have the grill off that's here, there's 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that's going to be a T25 Torx. So we'll go ahead and get those off. Now that you have those 4 screws off that were inside up there and these in the front, this whole black piece, start pulling on it, will come off. Now what's important is there's a little wire that connects this to the brain, and you have to disconnect that. So we'll get that off and I'll show you. There's that little cable I'm talking about. It's got a little clip on it. So we'll press the little clip and we'll pop it off. Right there's the clip, and then up. And now you can pull off this whole unit. So here we are where the motherboard's at. We're gonna unscrew our 2 power wires. We're gonna unplug those 2 up there. This white one I believe is our temperature sensors. Then we are going to unplug this wire, which is our compressor. And then we're gonna take out those 3 Torx you see, and that should slide right out. All right, so this is the board in front of me. We're gonna replace this board with a new one and hook everything back up. There was one small little latch. You had to take out this screw, pop that out, and then pressure clip to get your compressor. That was the only one that was a little different. All right, so a little bit of the backstory with this whole situation. First off, driver's side fans, or passenger side fans, stopped working on the roof. So the unit wasn't working right, what have you. Troubleshooting it on the side of the road, on a trip, I said, all right, let me try connecting the driver's side fan to the passenger side power plug on the roof to see if that fixes it. It kills the fan. Weird, right? So the fan doesn't go bad, actually, and this is in retrospect. This is my board from the inside of the van. Fan's not working. Both fans at this point. It started out as just the passenger. When I tried to use the driver's side, which was spinning, which was working, and I connected it to the passenger side power plug, but I knew that fan was good. So, took the motherboard out. Here you are looking at a diagram of this plug right here. This little flange where my finger is this. Second one in, this one that I'm touching here, and first one on the bottom right corner, this one I'm touching here. Those relate in this direction. There's these 3 thermal fuses right here, 1, 2, and 3. So these 3 thermal fuses, the middle one, don't exactly know what that does, but I would assume, judging by the left and right being fans, I would assume this is your interior fan. The right side, or the one I'm touching, is your passenger, and the left side is your driver. If you take your test probes, which you can touch the sides of these and see I have no continuity on this one, and I have no continuity I have no continuity on the left and right ones when I touch these two sides. When I touch this side of this particular fuse and I touch this terminal connection, that's how I know it's passenger. And this side of this one to number 2, that's my driver's side. So we're gonna replace these fuses, the left and right one of course, not the center one because that's still good. And we'll see if that fixes our problem, but I'm pretty confident it will. So I got these from digikey.com, the exact same size. I did not remove the fuse. I know it doesn't look pretty, but I just tapped them right on top. I did check both sides to both contactors and I got good continuity now. I'm not a circuit board guy, but that's the best I could do. So do what you want with it. So we're up here fixing this RTX 2000. We already have the cowling off. There's 4 screws on the front and there is 3 on the back. Let's see what we got here. We used a T25 Torx to take those off. These are what the screws look like. So 4 on the front, 5, 6, 7 total screws, 3 on the back. And then you're left with this. We're gonna take the fans off, test each one. This one I've already got unscrewed. There's 4 Phillips head screws that look like this. 1, 2, 3, and 4, they're all off. I got the wire unzip tied, cut the zip ties, and I got it removed from this gland area here. Comes down to here. So we're gonna take this off. And while you're in here, clean these out. For whatever reason, there's tons of leaves always in there. We'll bench test this real quick and see if it's the fan or see if it's the motherboard. So here we are with the fan. We're gonna bench test it. Your red is your power. If you don't have this label, red's power, blue's common, violet is pulse width modulation, white is your frame ground. So I made a small set of test leads to plug into this. The way I made it is just a circle connector. I cut off one side and made a little straight that goes in there. So then I hooked that to my wires. This is a 24-volt system. What I have is my red wire going to the red wire on the plug itself. I have my black wire going to violet, or excuse me, blue, and then white to white. So white's frame ground, and then the blue wire is what they call a common, and then your pulse width modulation is connected to my violet, which is what we will touch on our positive here to get ourselves moving. So now I'm going to come up here to my power test unit, and I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. I have 24 volts on. Might be flashing on your screens, but it's 24.9. 24 volts is fine. We'll come back down here to our wires, and you'll see when I touch the green, the pulse width modulation together, you'll see the fan trip a little. And then it'll go into full spool up. I'm gonna go ahead and take it off before it goes too hard. And that's how we're gonna bench test our fan. If your fan doesn't work, double check all your connections here. Make sure you have good connections. And back probe everything. Make sure that you have a good bridge between A and B inside of here. And if that's all good, I would say your problem is your fan. In my case, fan's working good. We're gonna move on to the next issue. What I will say about these Dometic air conditioner units, if you look at the edge of this where it falls off, if you were to imagine water falling off this, it can fall right into this little edge here and fill the fan shroud in this area. It can fill this with water. I'm not sure if these are drains or not, but regardless, it can do that. Whereas their newer model, the edge of this drips flush. There's no edge right here, it's flush. So maybe that's one issue, I'm not sure, but they've obviously redesigned this fan and this fan, unfortunately. The item number, is the same. This number, which I'm pretty sure is a serial, is different, which is different on both units, but yeah, just something to keep in mind. What would happen is you'd connect red, then you'd connect green, and your fan would spin. Mine is arcing, not spinning. So at this point I realized When I connect the red wire to my red alligator clamp, there should be no arc and I should be able to connect it and leave it. Then when I touch the green wire to my red alligator clip, the fan should move a little bit and then spool up to its normal operating RPMs. When I saw that not happen, I realized this was my problematic fan and what initially blew the fuse on the motherboard. So this fan is the issue. Secondary to that is obviously me fixing the fuse itself. Placing both fans real quick here. I've got the other fan removed. I'm gonna drop this one in. I'm gonna get this wire replaced back into this gooey stuff here and get that glued down nicely. Get this wire sent through and connected. Then I'm gonna use my Phillips head screwdriver, remove this fan. This fan is good, but we're changing with 2 new ones since one failed.
Yeah, the little 3-inch ones. 6. And come here first.
Alright, so we got both fans laid in. I'm going to start all these Phillips head screws in their respected holes. Remember, I think I've said this once or twice, but you're screwing into aluminum, so just go easy. No need to put 10 foot-pounds on these things. They're just holding the fan. I'm gonna go ahead and trace this wire through my gland here. Try to get all that gray stuff packed in there nicely, nice and waterproof. Sweep that underneath the wire, or the copper line, and then plug that in. We'll then put a zip tie here. Trim off the extra. I already put a zip tie here. I'm gonna go ahead and put these screws in their respective positions now. You get the point. We'll put all this back together. Make sure both fans are connected to their wiring harness, which they are on this right now. Turning on the interior unit right now. Both of these fans have been replaced. You can hear the interior unit fan just turning on underneath this gray piece. There's that fan just turned on, good to go. And then here in a second the compressor will kick on. These fans should do a little twitch like this. You'll see them twitch and then they should go completely on. You also will know this will get nice and cold. It'll suck that air from the inside. Compressor just turned on. I saw it vibrate. These should turn on next. So that's pretty much it for the video. After that, both fans were working perfectly. The unit was working as it's intended to. Cold air started to blow. I never had any error codes on the inside on the screen at all. So none of those error codes would have helped me anyways, because there was never one that popped up. Getting the fans, I called Dometic, can't even get the fans. So I had to order a whole nother unit to get the fans, kind of ridiculous, so they couldn't have warrantied it anyway. Just to give you some perspective, the unit is right at a year and 2 months old with about 200 hours of, basically 200 hours of running time, which would give you about 8 days straight of runtime, which is probably one good camp out. So the unit doesn't have much actual run time on it at all. Dometic was super unhelpful. They have no customer support, they have no customer service, they have no end user support at all. It's take it somewhere. When I called a place, they said they could look at it, diagnose it, and fix it. It'd be about $500 to do so if the parts were provided by Dometic under warranty, which obviously that couldn't happen. So it would have costed me a lot of money to go get it fixed, and I would have had to have driven about 3 hours to my closest place that is an authorized by Dometic to fix these units. So I made the video for you guys since I didn't find anything on the internet. If you liked it, please drop a comment and a like. Thanks for watching.